start. I know I shouldn't need to say this, but I think I will anyway. Please do not use your phones when our guest is speaking today. You can use your phone to take a picture, but I don't want to see you guys on Instagram or Kakao Talk when our guest is speaking. That is the height of rudeness. So please put your phones away, make sure they're on silent, and I want your undivided attention for the next hour or two. Okay, are there people outside? All right, let's start. So, I was going to thank everyone for coming today, but as I just said to Dr. Brook, I mandated that you come, so I guess I should thank you for obeying my commands, which is not always how it goes. So, thank you very much for that. I heard that this was something that used to happen quite a lot in the past, where like students or faculty members would invite sort of distinguished speakers to come and give lectures like we're doing today. But certainly in the last sort of 3 years since I've been here, I don't remember this ever happening. And it's something that I think is very important because you as potential global leaders, it is important that you engage with and meet people who are already global leaders in their sphere. Especially those who you might disagree with, as I suspect some of you might disagree with our guest today. And so when I decided that we should bring this back, my first question, of course, was, well, who should we invite, right? Who should this guest speaker be? And for those of you who know me, I'm kind of a contrarian. What I mean by that is, if there's kind of perceived wisdom that, X is always right, then I'm going to be the guy who's going to be like, I don't know, how about Y? Right? Or, the sky looks really blue today. I don't know, it's got a tinge of green in there somewhere. So, with that being said, I wanted to think about what is a value that our school has that is unquestioned, like a belief that is entirely accepted by everyone. And the answer, of course, is in our school's educational philosophy of ACG. A standing for? Altruism, that's right. Altruism is a moral virtue, right? This is something that we all strive for. We come to Chongqing to learn how to be moral, altruistic leaders. So, the question after that is, well, okay, who's going to come and speak out against this idea? And really, there's not that many people in the world doing this, and certainly the number one person I could think of is our guest today, Dr. Yaron Brook. For those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Brook's work, he is one of the most sought-after public speakers and debaters in the world today. He is a best-selling author of various books that are also in our library, like Free Market Revolution, How Ayn Rand's Ideas Can End Big Government, and the provocatively titled Equal is Unfair, America's Misguided Fight Against Income Inequality. Dr. Brook has also been published in very prestigious publications like the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, USA Today. He's been a guest on national and international television like Fox News, CNBC, and so on. And he is the current chairman of the board of the Ayn Rand Institute, who we must thank very much for putting this event together today. For me, on a personal level, this is a very surreal moment for me. I am a very big fan of the work of Dr. Brook. I've been following him for many years, and so this is just a bizarre moment for me to introduce this man to you. But really, what a treat, what an honor for me. So, I want you guys to give a big, warm Chongqing International Academy welcome for the one, the only, Dr. Yaron Brook.
Thank you, Liam. Thank you all for being here, or I guess thank you for requiring them all to be here. So, altruism. Let's talk about altruism first, and then we'll talk about, is there an alternative to altruism? Because there's probably no concept in the world today more accepted, more viewed positively, more just acknowledged as this is morality, this is what ethics means, than altruism. Altruism is ethics. It is being good, being just, being right. Now, I'm going to argue that nobody actually lives it. Nobody actually practices it, not consistently, because you can't, let's be honest. But we all know it's right, it's just, it's good. We live our lives, we know it's right, we don't quite practice it, we feel a little guilty, Maybe you're too young to feel guilty, but your parents feel guilty, your grandparents feel guilty. And I think it's good to question these ideas. So what is altruism? What do we mean when we say altruism? Now, a lot of people think that altruism means, being nice to people, like opening a door if somebody's walking by who's older than you, or is struggling getting up in the bus for somebody older than you, or just helping out somebody who's in trouble or in need on occasion. But you study at an institution that has this as one of your moral virtues. What is altruism? Is that what it is? Just being nice? No, right? So what is it? What is it?
Putting others in front of yourself.
Yeah, putting others in front of yourself. Putting the well-being, happiness of other people ahead of your own. Always. As a moral commandment, as a moral virtue, as a moral necessity. The concept of altruism was actually coined by a French philosopher in the 19th century. I mean, it exists way back, certainly in Christianity's history, altruism is a key feature. But as a term, as a word, it was coined by Augustin Comte, C-O-M-T-E, in the 19th century. He was a philosopher. And Comte says, to be a good person, to be just, to be moral, to be virtuous, to be noble, means to live for the sake of other people. Always put the interests of other people before your own. Indeed, never think of yourself. Like if you help somebody and you think, I'm going to help this person because it's going to make me feel good. It doesn't count. You get negative points. It doesn't count as altruism. Because your motivation was feeling good, which is you, which is being selfish, which is about yourself. And the whole point of altruism is never think about yourself. Always think about others. Act in everything that you do for the well-being of other people. And who are these others? Well, the others should be the people who really need help. The people who don't have. The more needy they are, the more they deserve your help, your altruism, your thought, your focus. And it's almost unquestioned in the world we live in that this is good and noble and right. So, Ayn Rand asks a very simple question. She asks a simple question, and the question is, why? Why should I live for other people? Why is their life more important than my life? I'll make an assumption that we only live once. This life is it. There's nothing afterwards. You don't get reincarnated. Just once. Why should I live in this one shot I have at life? This one time on planet Earth. Why should I live for other people? What about me? And if I'm supposed to live for other people, what are they supposed to live for? Other people. And what are they supposed to live for? Other people. And where does it end? And the more needy, we send everything to the needy. What are they supposed to do? To be moral people, they should turn around and find somebody even more needy than them and live for them. So logically, it's like an infinite loop. And what's the point? And nobody can actually be happy, because once you're happy, that's not good. You're not sacrificing enough. You're not helping other people enough. You're not giving enough. You're actually being happy. That's pretty self-interested. So Ayn Rand challenges all of this. And I saw in the library you have some Ayn Rand books, and it changed my life. I think it changed Liam's life. It's changed Jeremy's life. These are powerful books. I recommend them, even if you disagree, because they will challenge everything you believe in. That'll make you a better thinker, because you'll be able to stand up for what you believe in. So always read people you disagree with. If you just read the stuff you agree with, you're just stuck. You'll go nowhere. You'll only improve your own thinking. So I may ask you, why should I sacrifice my life? Why should I live for other people? We've got one life. And every one of us, every human being on the planet is challenged. Because we're a unique species. We're a unique species. We're very different than any other animal out there. Because other animals know how to live. It's just instinctual. They've got the DNA that tells them exactly what they need to do in order to survive. Exactly what they need to do in order to live successfully. There is no morality for animals. Why? Because it's programmed. We are not programmed. At least not in that detail. We actually make choices. We have free will. We have the ability to choose right versus wrong. What we will do, what we won't do. We can actually, as a species, as individuals, we can commit suicide. We can choose to die. It's very, very unusual in nature. So all of us face, fundamentally, this situation of how do we live? When you're born, you're not born with the tools, the intellectual tools, to be able to actually figure out what's good for you and what's bad for you, what's right and what's wrong. You learn that from your parents. You figure it out by yourself. Hopefully, about your age, you rebel. Rebellion is good. You don't believe your parents anymore. You don't believe your teachers anymore. This is good. This is the hormones kicking in and making you an independent thinker, forcing you to be an independent thinker. It's good not to believe, not to agree. I mean, they might be right. And ultimately, you should figure out if they're right or wrong. But this is about the age where you should be challenging everything. You should be questioning everything. Because they might be wrong. People can be wrong. That's the thing about human beings. We're not animals. Animals can't be wrong. I mean, they can be, they get eaten, right? But they had no choice. They are programmed to behave in particular ways. So they didn't choose and make a bad mistake, or choose something that's evil or bad. They're just programmed to be that. So human beings are unique in that we have to choose to live. And yet we don't know how to. So we have to figure out how to live. A lot of you are going to figuring out right now, not right now, but generally, about what you want to do with the rest of your life. Right? You may be graduating in a year or two, or maybe in a few months, and you're trying to figure out what am I going to study, where am I going to go to school, what do I want to do with my life. And it's hard. It's damn hard. And there are no easy answers. And your responsibility to yourself is to figure out that choice. Everything in life, in a sense, is like that. You can't take anything for granted. You have to choose how to live and what life means to you. So there's a fundamental choice that human beings have between basically of how to live. Once you choose to live, and all of us, almost all of us, choose to live, then the question is how? What do we do to live? What actions must we take in order to be successful at this thing called life? And this is what Ayn Rand encourages us to do. It's your responsibility, each one of you, to live, to be alive. In that sense, every one of you should be self-interested. You need to focus on what's it going to take for me to live. And what does it take for human beings to live? You know, animals have different values, if you will. You know, values are things that we want to gain, act to gain or keep, things that we want. They could be spiritual values, like honesty, but we want to be honest. We need to act in order to be honest. Or they could be material things, like a nice computer. But values are things that we act to gain or keep. Right? And the most important values are moral values. So what's the thing that makes us human, the thing that's most important to us as human beings if we want to survive? Like, how How do human beings survive? Like a plant. A plant's values are easy. What are the plant's values? Any plant. It doesn't actually choose them. Nature has chosen them for it. And what are plants' values? Yell them out. What's it? Sunlight. So if you put a plant in the shade, what does it do? It kind of wiggles its way and tries to find the sunlight, right? And it goes to where the sunlight is. What else is a value? Musical accompaniment. What else is a value? Water, right? So you put it in a dry soil and the roots go out and they're looking for the water. It's acting to find its values, to find the things that are necessary for it in order to survive. Animals are the same thing. A cheetah's value is speed and agility. A lion is strength. What is it, human beings? What is it that makes it possible for us to survive, just to survive? What's that? Fulfilling our base necessities. But how do we fulfill our base necessities? What's that? Our intelligence, right? It's using our minds. So think about how many people here have the gene for agriculture. It's just programmed within you to know exactly how to do agriculture, like to get food. And I know that probably some of your parents might be farmers, but that doesn't give you the gene for agriculture, does it? My dad's a doctor. I don't have a gene for medicine. How do we do agriculture? I mean, we have, 8 billion people on the planet? Everybody gets fed. I mean, some people not so well, but mostly everybody gets fed. How do we do that? Right? Do we just know how to do it like a plant just sends its roots out? Do we just know how to do it like a cheetah that just hunts and finds its prey? We learned it. And before we can learn it, what has to happen? Who do you learn from?
We observe nature.
We observe nature, and then what do we do?
And then we copy it.
Then we copy it. So, do we really copy nature? So, any skyscrapers in nature? We learn, we observe. You're right, we observe nature. We learn to understand nature. We learn the rules, the laws, the physics, the biology, the chemistry of nature. And then we reshape nature to fit our needs. And that's all by using our mind. That's all by using our reason. So think about agriculture. At some point, some genius, Einstein of his day, noticed that if you drop a seed on the ground and you water it, a plant grows from it. Now, that's obvious to every 3-year-old today, because we teach it, right? But for 100,000 years, human beings didn't know that happened. They thought trees just, plants just show up. There's no cause. The gods do it. Right? The god of trees. I don't know. I'm sure there was a god of trees at some point. There was a god of rivers. There's a god of the sky. There's a god of the moon, god of the sun, because everything we didn't understand was a god. But then we discovered science, slowly, little bits. So the seed is dropped, and a plant grows. And he made that discovery. And what did we do to this guy, probably, or gal? What do we do to them? What do we usually do to people who discover new things? And in history, not today, but in history, what did we do to people who discover new things and challenge the status quo? Yeah, we probably crucify them or burn them at the stake or something nice like that, right? We don't admire, unfortunately, in human history, we have not respected the great achievers, the great geniuses. But then, it probably took 10,000 years before that scientific discovery was then turned into what we call agriculture. It probably took an entrepreneur like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs who said, hey, wait a minute, if that's true, if that science is true, we can do this on a mass scale. We can get seeds, and we can sow the seeds and do whatever they do in agriculture, because I don't know, in order to grow stuff. And then we can feed more people. And about 10,000 years ago, we had an agricultural revolution. Because some really, really smart people used their mind to reshape nature to fit human needs. And we had massive amounts of food suddenly, and the population started growing, and we congregated into cities and created civilizations. After 100,000 years of being human, we finally discovered agriculture. All a product of the human mind. All a product of the human brain. And it turns out that if you free the human mind, if you let people think for themselves, if you let people discover, if you give them the opportunity to go out there and figure stuff out without an authority telling them what they can and cannot think, what they can and cannot do, without getting permission from a king or a council or the state, then beautiful things happen. People find ways to improve our survival as human beings. If you look at those 100 years, for 100 years, we made nothing. We hunted, we collected stuff. Then we had a little bit of an agricultural revolution, so things got a little bit better, but not much. Still, life expectancy for the most part, up until about 200 years ago, was what? What was life expectancy? 50. 50 was like ancient. Life expectancy was under 40. Most places around the world, life expectancy was in the 30s, whether low 30s or high 30s, depended. But it's somewhere in between. So I'm long dead. You guys are approaching middle age. Right? I mean, life's pretty sweet. You guys are going to live to be 100 easily. Maybe quite a bit more if biotech advances. So there was a whole period in which we lived to be 35, let's say. We had about $2 a day. That's average income. Not average income. That is income for 98% of the population up until about 200 years ago. $2 a day. We were farmers. We planted food and we ate it. That was it. No leftovers, no trading, no vacations, no restaurants, no iPhones. I don't know how we lived. You know, I lived before the era of iPhones, so I can vaguely remember what life was like. So for 100,000 years it was like that, and then suddenly it went like this. Through the roof. We're so rich today, we don't know how rich we are, because we have no way to measure it. How do you measure the value of electricity? I mean, we pay a little bit for it, but that's not a measure of the value it has for us in our lives. How do you measure the value of running water? Toilets? Video? I mean, the value is unbelievable. Our quality of life, our standard of living, is millions of times greater than our ancestors from about 200 years ago. All that happened like this, all because of one thing. We suddenly said to people, we suddenly tell people, and you can ask me why in the Q&A, we said to people, you can think for yourself. We're not going to question it. We're not going to challenge it. You don't need permission. You don't need permission. You can invent what you want. You can do science and discover what you want. We won't question it. Well, I mean, we won't question it, but we won't stop you from doing it. We gave them freedom. And freedom of the mind more than anything else, of individuals using their mind in pursuit of knowledge, in pursuit of life. So reason, we now know, without question, is the way in which we make our life better as individuals. It's using our rational mind to figure out what's good, what's bad, what'll work, what doesn't work, what's true, what's false. There's no other mechanism. There's no revelation. There's no other dimension in which the truth exists. The truth is right here. Reality is what it is. And we can figure it out using our minds. So for Iran, life is about using your reason to guide your life towards making it better, making your life better for you. And the purpose of your life should be not service to others, not sacrifice, not suffering, but your own happiness. Your own happiness, your own success, your own flourishing as a human being, living the best life you can live as a human being, with everything that entails. Primarily what it entails is using your mind, using your reason to guide you, because it's all we have. We're not automatons. We're not programmed. Nature hasn't given us the programming to help us survive and to achieve happiness. What we have is our own mind. So, Rand's argument is, Why should I live for other people? I have one life on this earth. It's my life. I have the tool to make it possible for me to live well. That is human reason. And now it's just a question of applying that tool to every aspect of my life. And morality, ethics, should be, she says. The study, is that Bach? That's Bach. Ethics, morality, which conventionally just says, live for other people, sacrifice, do what's good for them. She says, no. What morality should be is to figure out, to give us guidance, to give us principles, to give us the knowledge of how to live the best life that we can for ourselves. Because it's not obvious, again. We're not born with that knowledge. We don't know how to do it. Aristotle, if you know a little bit about Greek philosophy, Aristotle was kind of the first one who embarked on this kind of project. His question was not, with studying ethics, what can I do to help other people? How do we sacrifice? I mean, he would have never thought of that. That is a bizarre question for Greek philosophy. Greek philosophers all thought, how do we make individual life, human life better? How do we make human beings live a better life? And Aristotle's project is, what are the things, call them virtues, what are the virtues, what are the actions human beings need to take to make their life good, to prosper, to flourish? In Greek, and if you know Greek, then I apologize in advance because I'm going to brutalize the word, eudaimonia, which was this concept in Greece of happiness, fulfillment, flourishing as an individual. What are the things, what are the principles I need to engage in life in order to achieve eudaimonia? What are the principles I need to engage in life in order to achieve my own personal happiness, my own personal fulfillment, the best possible life for me as an individual? And that should be what ethics teaches us. That should be what ethics studies. It should be a science. The science of human well-being. The science that looks at what is good for each one of us as a human being. We're all the same in important ways. We all rely, for example, on reason in order to be successful. But what does reason demand from us? What does it mean to live by reason? Well, it demands certain virtues. It requires a certain approach to life, a virtuous approach to life. But what are those virtues? They're going to be very different than the virtues necessary to sacrifice. They're much more complicated because they're about figuring out how to live well. So, for example, what does it mean to live a life of reason? Well, it means that I'm going to make a decision based on facts, based on evidence, based on reality, based on what's actually out there. Emotions are important. We all have them. Hopefully you enjoy them. Sometimes they're horrible. But what are emotions? What are emotions? Where do they come from? Mystical force. Makes you fall in love, makes you hate somebody, makes you depressed, makes you happy. Where do they come from? They just happen? What's that? Our brain. It's just chemistry. Just chemistry, right? So it's random. It's whatever the quarks or whatever the subatomic particles are spitting off that day, that's what you're going to feel. Now, how come we can change our emotions? Anybody here ever have their emotions changed? What happens when your emotions change? What causes them to change?
A certain thought.
What's that? Yell because I can't hear you.
Don't yell, what you said. A certain thought.
A certain thought, a new thought, some new evidence, some new facts, right? You might like somebody, and you feel positively towards them, and then they tell you a lie. They lie to you, and your emotions change. You don't like them anymore. You don't like them. Our emotions are products of our evaluations, of our thoughts, of our conclusions, of our reason. But sometimes, they're conclusions and thoughts that we made a long, long time ago. And we don't even remember making them. And we don't know where they come from. We just feel. We just feel. And sometimes the conclusions we made a long, long time ago that result in our emotions today might be right, or they might be wrong. We don't know, we just feel. Because feelings are neither right or wrong, they just are. But they're not sources of knowledge. All the feeling is telling you is how you feel as a consequence of what you're encountering. It doesn't tell you if that feeling is appropriate or inappropriate, justified or unjustified given the circumstances. You might be afraid of, I don't know, what's good to be afraid of in Korea? What? Unemployment? Wow. I didn't expect that. I thought dogs, I don't know. Nukes from North Korea, something like that. Unemployment. Yeah, you might be afraid of unemployment, right? Although, you know, you've got a welfare state in Korea, I'm sure they'll take care of you. Unemployment sucks. But if you're prepared, if you've actually studied, if you've, you know, got a good job, or if you've got good prospects for a job, why are you afraid of unemployment? What is it that's causing that fear? What do you doubt about yourself or about the world around you that's causing you that? It's not telling you, your fear is not telling you that you're likely to be unemployed. It's telling you you think or thought or concluded at some point that you're likely to be unemployed. That might be a right conclusion, it might be a wrong conclusion. The emotion itself is not true or false. But it could be based on wrong conclusions you came to in the past. The point is, emotions are not tools of cognition. They're not based on our reasoning, rational faculty. Because they're based on everything we've thought in the past. Might have been good, might have been bad, we might have reasoned it out, we might not have. We might have used false facts. We might just be being convinced because, I don't know, we're afraid of dogs because a dog barked at us when we were 2. And we developed a fear. My brother, when he was around a year less than 2, crawled into the sea and almost drowned, right? And for years, he would be afraid of taking a bath. Afraid of taking a bath because he internalized the conclusion, water evil, water scary, water might kill me, don't want water. And then the emotion came, it wasn't he was thinking, he had automatized it. Now, as he grew up, he came to new conclusions. No, water's not bad for me, water's fine. And today, like, he swims, like, in the ocean, miles and miles. He's this amazing swimmer, right? Because he reprogrammed his emotions, in a sense, by coming to new conclusions. So emotions are not tools of cognition. Indeed, as you get older, you will discover that when you get into trouble in life, with other people, or just generally, it'll be because you followed your emotions, you didn't think it through. Emotions are how we get into trouble. Reason is how we stay out of trouble. Thinking. What I meant saying about being self-interested is think. Use your mind. Don't rely on other people to tell you what to think. It's called independence, the virtue of independence. Think for yourself. Use facts, not emotions. Use logic, the virtue of rationality. Only accept facts. Never delude yourself. Never accept falsehoods into this amazing machinery of logic and reason. Why? Why is lying to yourself so damaging? Well, there's a term in computer science. Those of you who know a little bit about computers. It's called garbage in, garbage out. If you feed a computer garbage, you'll get garbage results. Your brain is the same way. You feed it nonsense, you'll get nonsense. You can't afford to have nonsense. This is the tool for living. It's a tool for surviving. You can't afford to have your brain filled with nonsense. You can't afford to have your brain filled with lies. You can't afford to have your brain So lying is really, really bad because it's screwing up with your machinery, with your computer, with your soul, with your mind. You're not going to have good results. Now, it's also pretty bad for lots of other reasons, right? Anybody lie ever? I don't want to know. Like lying, it's like telling somebody else something that's not true. So what about white lies? Like somebody's on the verge of dying from cancer, but the doctor, you don't want to tell them they've only got 2 months to live because they'll be depressed and they'll be sad and everything, so you don't want to lie to them. I mean, we can always find borderline cases, right? But I would say, really, if I had 2 months to live, please tell me. Because I want to do things in my 2 months, right? If I think I've got a year, I'll behave differently than if I've only got 2 months. I might want to do all the things on my bucket list. You know, the bucket list, the list of things you want to do before you die, quickly, rather than slowly. And I'll be very disappointed if after 2 months, if I'm thinking I'm dying in a year. Honesty almost always is the right policy. There's very few so-called white lies that really make sense. Usually what a white lie is, it's to make ourselves feel better, because we don't have to confront the person with the truth. We always lie when we lie in order to make ourselves feel better. We pretend that it's for the purpose of helping the other person, but no. It's because we don't want to confront the reality. But reality is all we've got. Reality is where truth is. Reality is where life is. So lying sucks. It's a bad policy. It's not good for you. It's not, you shouldn't lie because you'll hurt other people and we're all altruistic and we're nice. No, don't lie because it'll hurt you. People who lie have rotten lives. They get caught. And if you don't think people care about lying, try it. Try lying to your best friend for a day. Just one day. See what happens. How long they stay your best friend. And now project it onto your spouse in the future when you get married. Lying is bad policy for you, for self-interested reasons. It's just not good. If you're in business and you lie, you won't stay in business very long. I mean, I don't know of only one profession, really only one profession, where lying actually achieves success. Anybody know what that is? What's that? Bankers? No, bankers, if you lie, you're dead. You're not successful. You can't succeed at banking if you lie. Of all the professions, it's the most crucial. What's that? Acting's not lying. Acting's pretending, which is different. No, there's only one. Politics. Have you ever met an honest politician? I have never met one. I've met lots of politicians. But I've also never met, and I know that we might be challenges, I've never met, literally never met, and I've met a lot of politicians, never met a happy politician. Never met a happy politician. They're miserable. Just look at them, you can see it in the photos. They're miserable. And it's partially because they lie all the time. Lying corrupts your own mind. It corrupts your own ability to enjoy life. It's allowing untruths into this precious machine that you have, this precious value which is your mind. Don't do it. It's not good for you. Which means don't go into politics, I guess. Because it seems that politics demands this kind of lying. So here you got 3 virtues. Just from the idea, following reason. Be rational. Be an independent thinker. Think for yourself. Independence. Honesty. Honesty. Never lie to yourself. And by extension, don't lie to others because it's destructive. You should live your values. If you believe that you should think before you act, then think before you act. Do what you preach. What's that virtue called? It's called integrity. Integrity. Integrity is the idea that you practice what you preach. You live your values. You not just argue be rational. You don't just argue for being self-interested, you live it. That's being moral. It's living the ideas that you hold as true. It's one of the things that altruism can't do. You can't have integrity and be an altruist. Because you literally cannot live your life living for others constantly, all the time. And if you do, you're going to be miserable, horribly miserable. Just read Mother Teresa's diaries. Read them. Don't believe me. I don't know if they're in the library, but they're certainly online. She was miserable. She hated life. It was awful. Because she didn't ever live for herself. She never used her mind rationally to think, what is truly my long-term self-interest? What is going to make me happy? Because happiness is a vice, not a virtue. If you're an altruist, stop thinking about yourself. Stop thinking about your happiness. You should be thinking about other people. You're wasting precious time. See, you can't have integrity and altruism, because integrity would literally demand that every moment of your life you would be thinking about how to help other people. Whenever you find a contradiction like that, you have to challenge the underlying assumptions. So, integrity, that's 4. Let's see if I remember them all. In order to live, in order to be successful in life, we've got to take the ideas we have in our mind and we've got to live them. And the biggest challenge we have as human beings, we don't feel it as much because we're so rich today, but the biggest challenge we have is to feed ourselves. It's to be productive. It's to do the things that are necessary to actually bring about the material values that we need in order to survive and to thrive and to be successful in life. We have to produce. We have to create. So if I meant productiveness, the focus on using our minds to figure out how to produce stuff for ourselves, how to have a career, how to do work that you enjoy but also adds value in the world, so that you can make money, so that you can use that money to buy the stuff that you need to buy, the food, the entertainment, the things that we buy, the transportation, the things that make our life a good life. We need money. So productiveness, the idea of focusing our mind on figuring out how to do that, and then doing it, acting on it. So for Ayn Rand, if you read her books, the heroes are always people who are pursuing a career, whether it's in business, whether it's in architecture. Some of them, there's one who's a sculptor, so it could be art, it could be business, it could be music. But all of them take it seriously. All of them try to do it the best that they can do it. All of them are 100% committed to it. They live it. They use their mind to produce values and to, through that, make their life the best. You know, everybody says when you ask them, what's the most important thing in your life? And everybody says, in our culture, I think in career as well, everybody says family. The most important thing in our lives is family, right? So I ask people, why do you spend more time at work than with the family? Because you will. Most of you will spend more time at work than you will with your family. So if you look at people's actions, work is more important to them than their family. That's where they spend their energy, that's where they spend their time, that's where they spend the most productive hours of the day. It's at work. Why?
To make a living.
What's that?
Because it's the main source of sustenance.
So it's the main source that sustains the family, but we just do it for the family? Hopefully not. I mean, there's a number of reasons why we work so hard. One, hopefully, and I encourage you all to think about this, hopefully we love it. Hopefully we love it. Hopefully we have fun at work. I love my work. I hope you love your work. You should get up in the morning saying, yes, I gotta go work today. Monday morning isn't, yes, I gotta go do something exciting today. And if you don't have that kind of job, find one. There's a wonderful speech, I recommend this strongly, wonderful speech that Steve Jobs made at at Stanford University, at the commencement address at Stanford University. Go find, it's on YouTube, Steve Jobs Stanford. Find it and watch it. It's like 10 minutes. But it's one of the best speeches you'll ever hear. And what he says is, find work you love. Find a career you're going to enjoy. Because you know what? You're going to spend more time at work than anywhere else. You're going to spend more effort at work than anywhere else. By the time you get home to your family, you'll be tired. You better love it. You better enjoy it. You live only once. If you're going to spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day doing something, love it. Just like when you get married, love the person you get married to. Don't just do it out of sense of duty. Don't marry who your parents tell you to marry. Don't marry just on a whim. Figure out who you want to really spend your time with, and that you're going to have fun with, and that you're going to enjoy. That's who you should marry, because you're going to spend, I've been married 36 years. I mean, imagine if I married somebody you didn't like. That would be torture. Luckily, I love my wife, even after 36 years. It's pretty cool. It's fun to go home. So, just like you marry somebody you love, find a job, find work, find a career that you love, and take it seriously. Work on it. Because you're not immediately going to love it, right? Some jobs, you have to work into it. I'm not suggesting life is just one long, ecstatic moment. You've got to work to get to the point where you love your job. But have a goal. Work hard at it. Figure it out. But enjoy what you do. And make it challenging. Because part of what happiness requires, part of what being happy requires, is self-esteem. You know what self-esteem is? It's a sense of well-being. It's a sense that I belong on this earth. I'm worthy. I can be successful. I have confidence. I can do stuff. Well, we get that primarily from the work we do. We get that primarily from the job we do, career we have. And without self-esteem, you cannot attain happiness. And self-esteem is not something other people give you. The schools in America, I don't know about Korea, but the schools in America where everybody gets a ribbon. Everybody gets the same grade. Everybody's treated exactly the same. You don't get self-esteem from that. Everybody pats you on the shoulder. You're great, even when you know you're not. Because what matters in life is what you know. Not what I know, not what your teachers know, not what the principal knows, not what your parents know. The only thing that matters in life is what you know about yourself. Are you working hard? Are you really trying? Do you cheat once in a while? You know all those things. Right? You know all those things. You're evaluating yourself constantly. And that's the only evaluation that matters. And self-esteem comes from a positive evaluation. Yes, I'm good. Productiveness, taking your career seriously, living or working in something that you love is so crucial to happiness. Again, you spend most of your time there, you spend most of your energy there, and you get most of your self-esteem from the work that you do. And it's not just about money. Money's just a measure of how much value you create primarily for other people. Because some of us chose to be teachers. Teachers don't make a lot of money. And teachers are pretty smart usually. They could have gone to make a lot of money, but they chose not to. Because they love teaching. I love this. I've literally given up millions of dollars so I could do this. Because love is more important than money. Money's pretty cool too, don't get me wrong. And they can often go together, right? Like if you want to be a banker, you can have both, love and money. We can talk about banking if you want. Banking is the most noble of all professions. It is. All right, so we got 5, right? Rationality, independence, honesty, integrity, productiveness. What am I missing? Pride I'm leaving for the end. Well, I'm missing one before that, right? What else do we have? The rationality demands. You're going to look it up? That's embarrassing. Let's talk about pride. The altruist will tell you never be proud. Pride is a sin. Pride is sin. What is pride? What is pride? You know, Aristotle called pride the queen of the virtues. The most important of all the virtues is pride. Because pride is the idea, pride is the action that you can be better, that you are going to be as good as you can be. You're going to be the best that you can be. It's not, hey, look how good I am. That's not pride. Pride is the knowledge that you are seeking moral perfection. You're trying to be the best human being you can be. It's an action. And part of that is recognizing when you do something good. Oh, that was good. I did well there. I gave a good talk. I built a good machine. I got a good grade. That's good. I worked hard. I deserved that. That was good. It's recognizing that. It's acknowledging it. It's how you get that self-esteem. And we're afraid to acknowledge it because we're told that pride is a sin. So don't acknowledge it. But it's more than that because it's a commitment to do better next time. To keep doing well. To be as good as you can be. To live the best life that you can live. To strive to be the best human being you can be. You live once. Once. You want to make the most of it. That's what pride instructs us. That's what pride drives us towards. An important virtue in our man's world. You figure out what the seventh one?
Justice.
Oh, Jesus. All of the stuff we've talked about so far, it's interesting. All these virtues are virtues about oneself, right? This is self-interest. We're talking about morality of self-interest versus a morality of altruism. But we still have to deal with other people. How do you deal with other people? How should you deal with other people? That's the virtue of justice. So what does justice mean? Treat everybody the same? Is that what justice means? That's what a lot of people would like it to mean these days. The social justice guys want you to treat everybody the same. But does it make sense to treat everybody the same? I mean, altruism tells you shouldn't treat everybody the same. The more needy they are, the more you should give them. The more needy they are, the more time you should sacrifice. The more needy somebody is, the more you should focus on. Need is the standard of how to treat other people. But if you're self-interested, if you're living just for yourself, theoretically, don't care about anybody, how should you treat other people? Screw them, who cares? Walk away. Are other people of value? Are other people something that makes your life better or not? What do you think? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, huh? Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Justice is the virtue that says, figure out who's who you benefit from, who you don't. What do you do with the people who benefit from? Yeah, be nice. Have a relationship with them. What kind of relationship? Ask them to sacrifice for you? Give you stuff? What kind of relationship should we have with people who are going to add to our life? Mutual. Mutually beneficial. Ayn Rand called this the trader principle. Now we understand trade in material objects. Like I bought this iPhone for $1,000. Yeah, I bought it, the iPhone. $1,000 for the iPhone. How much was it worth to me? How much? $1,000. No, it wasn't worth $1,000. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered. Econ 101. How much is this worth to me? More than $1,000. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered. I would have been indifferent. So I bought the iPhone because it's worth a lot more than $1,000 to me. It's actually worth, I've calculated tens of thousands of dollars to me, but don't tell Apple, because I don't want them to increase the price. So I won when I bought an iPhone. I gave up $1,000 and got something that's worth more than $1,000 to me. Did Apple lose? No. Mutually beneficial. Trade principle. Win-win. With people who are good to you, with people who are going to benefit you, you want to create win-win relationships. You want to be in a situation where you win and they win. Mutually advantageous. And life generally is about creating as many win-win relationships as you can. Because every time somebody provides you with something, you're better off. And they'll want to keep doing it if you make them better off. Marriage is, if it works, is a win-win relationship. It's a trade. We don't like to think of it as a material, because it's not a material trade, but it's a trade, it's a spiritual trade. Friendship is a trade. If one friend is doing stuff for the other, and the other never does anything, it's not going to work. So, justice demands that we treat good people well. People we get values from, at the very least, we say thank you. Like if I ever met Steve Jobs, unfortunately he's dead, I would say thank you. Because I get more value from my iPhone than the money I paid. And the difference is a thank you. And you know what? People like that really appreciate it when you say thank you to them. So when you know somebody's good for you, create some kind of mutually advantageous relationship. Reward them in some little way. That's what justice demands. Treating the good as good. And the good in this case is good for? We're egoists, right? Good for me. Good for you. You get to decide who's good for you. Treat them well. What about people who are bad for you? How should you treat them? Screw them. You push them away. Keep your distance. You don't have to do anything bad to them. But you don't want to help them. You don't want to sacrifice, because helping them is a sacrifice. You don't get anything for it. You get negative value from it. So justice demands that you treat good people well and you treat bad people badly. It means judging people. It means not being neutral. And again, not very PC. We're not supposed to judge people anymore. Everybody's good. Everybody has a goodness in them. No, some people are damn bad. And we should treat them that way. I mean, treat them that way means avoiding them, ignoring them, certainly not helping them. Justice demands that you use your mind, you use your reason to figure out who's good for you, who's bad for you, and treat them accordingly. So Rand has 7 virtues. Those are the 7 virtues. Rand has a worked out morality of living your life for you, making the best life you can for you. Because what's the alternative? It's pretty lousy. Altruism doesn't make sense as a moral system because it can't even be practiced consistently. I can practice egoism consistently. I can be a consistent egoist. I don't have to compromise. I don't have to feel guilty. Because, I feel guilty if I do something wrong. That's okay guilt. Bad guilt is unjustified guilt, unearned guilt, guilt for something you didn't do. So, I urge you're at a great age. This is the age where you're starting to shape your ideas, trying to figure out what you believe in, challenging your teachers, challenging your parents, challenging your friends, reading broadly. The ages between, I'd say, 15, 16 to 25, 26, before you have a family, before you get married, before you have a job, and then you get so busy, you don't have time to think big thoughts. Now's the time you can think big. Now's the time that you can attain values that will shape your entire life into the future. What the decisions you make about life now will shape your future. Now, I'm not talking about which college to go to. Who cares? I'm not talking about even what subject you study. Who cares? I mean, you're going to live, 100, 120, 130 years old? You'll probably have 5, 6, 7 careers. You can't think, I know you guys are stressing, what university is going to accept me? What should I study? Should it be this or should it be that? Do something. And you won't like it, switch. And you work at it for 5 years and you don't like that, go back to school and switch again. I've had, 5 or 6 careers. And I'm old. Right? You guys, you live in a much more dynamic world where change is going to be even more accelerated than what changed in my lifetime. You'll have many careers. So don't obsess about the little stuff. Instead, think about the big stuff. What kind of life do you want? What kind of future do you want? Who do you want to live for? And how do you want to do it? Now's the time. I hope you enjoy the thinking about it, and we will take questions. Thank you. I think we got some roaming mics. Somebody gets his. I'll use that one.
First, we would like to thank Dr. Yaron, Brook, and the Yaron Institute for allowing your speech to take place here. Being from a school that is home to a lot of different ideas and opinions, it was really enlightening and compelling to hear your speech. So although this is not representative of our gratitude towards you and the Yaron Institute, we have a small token.
Oh, thank you. I'll figure out what it is later.
Yeah. We're going to open the floor up for questions. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and hopefully I'll be able to see who you are.
Whatever you want.
So basically my question is about the government. So your perspective is that the government should exist to protect like the citizens' freedom, fundamental human rights, but should not be engaged in the economy. But I think that in some instances, like the Great Depression, actually governmental intervention did provide hope in alleviating the issue. So if some kind of economic crisis or an incident similar to the Great Depression happens, in what ways should the government counteract?
So, first, I'm not saying that the government will never help some people. Sure, it'll help some people. It takes my money and gives it to somebody poor. That's helping them. I don't know if it really helps them, but in a material sense, it helps them. That's not the point. The point is, it's taking my money. It didn't ask. It just takes it. And if I say, no, I don't feel like it today, no, I don't want to do it today, or I've got other uses for the money that are better, I can give it to charity, I can build a business and employ these people. The government says, no, you're going to jail unless you give us the money. That's what I don't accept. So I'm not doubting that at a given point, they can do something that's worthwhile. But you bring up the Great Depression and you bring up economic crisis. The problem with the question is that the assumption is that you have a market and it fails, and there's a big depression, and then the government comes in and saves the market, and things get better. But I don't know what history you're being taught. Sorry. But that's not what happened. What happened was the government screwed up big time and created a Great Depression. The Great Depression was caused by government policies, primarily in the United States by the Federal Reserve, and then after that by the predecessor to Donald Trump. It was called Herbert Hoover, who signed a bill called Smoot-Hawley, which basically raised tariffs around the world and caused a massive trade war, which led the entire globe into a massive depression. All caused by government. And then they raised taxes. They did everything the government did was screwed up and made it worse, right? And then you're taught, again, falsely, that comes in FDR, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, on a white horse, and passes all these programs that save the US economy. But it's curious, because FDR comes into office in early 1933. And unemployment, I can't remember the exact number, but whatever unemployment is in 1933, In 1938, 5 years later, it's exactly at the same place. Most economists, well, I think most economists, but if not a significant number of economists, believe that FDR prolonged the Great Depression. He made the Great Depression worse. He made it longer. And he put into place policies that later created real economic crises separate. I would argue, have argued, that the policies FDR made in 1933, to some extent, to a large extent, caused the 2008 financial crisis. Those regulations brought about the 2008 financial crisis, and a lot of problems in between. So, I don't think government can solve economic crisis. First of all, keep your hands off so we don't have them. Because there's no systemic risk in a free market. Like your company can go bankrupt, but my company can thrive. This industry can do well, and that industry does badly. But on average, things can be better, things can be a little worse, but they're not going to be in a depression. The complete collapse of an economy is a phenomenon that is always, always associated with government policies. Because government is systemic. It creates systemic risk. And then what happens when governments intervene is they make crises worse, and they set us up for future crises. So there's one example. In 1920, so this is before the Great Depression, about 10 years before the Great Depression, the US economy had a major recession, like major collapse. What did government do? Nothing. Literally nothing. President did nothing. Congress did nothing. 6 months later, wham, it came right out very quickly. So it went in very quickly, out very quickly, and it was all over. What government usually does is it keeps us in the bottom. It keeps us in a recession. And if government stays out of it, what happens? As things collapse and everything becomes really cheap, what happens? What do self-interested, greedy businessmen do? They buy it up cheap, and they invest. And if wages have dropped, then we hire more people, because now they're cheaper. And we create the economic activity that leads to the next group. So markets are self-correcting. Government is what makes recessions and depressions sticky. Don't bounce up.